Let me tell you what I did last week. I opened a new car pricing tab, looked at the number, closed it, opened it again, closed it again. Not because I couldn't afford it, but because of that feeling. You know the one. That little voice in the back of your head that says you're about to make the right decision at exactly the wrong time. I've had that feeling before. I bought a perfectly good Nokia in 2006.
But I'm telling you, there's a damn wolf this time. And you can drive it. In fact, it can drive you. It's a self-driving wolf.
And then I saw the footage. 60 Cybercabs sitting in the Giga Texas lot. February was 1 car. March was 25 cars getting deliberately crashed. Tesla pays people to destroy their own vehicles. Let that sink in for a moment. April was 60 cars in the lot. May 8th, 40. May 13th, back up to over 70. That little voice got louder. So today I want to talk to you. Not in the, here's your Tesla news update way. More in the, I've been sitting with this, and I think you should sit with it too, before you sign anything way. Because whether you're planning to buy a Tesla, or specifically planning not to buy a Tesla, what's happening right now matters. The Cybercab is actually being built. I was surprised too. I'll be honest with you, I didn't believe it would happen this fast. When Musk walked out on stage in October 2024 and unveiled the Cybercab, no steering wheel, no pedals. Looks like someone designed a shoe and called it a car. My first thought was sure. See you in 2030? Maybe 2031 if there's a supply chain issue. Which there's always a supply chain issue. Because this is the same man who promised a $25,000 car in 2020, who promised full self-driving by 2016, who promised 1 million robotaxis on the road by 2020. I don't need to Google any of that. I remember it. We all remember it. But this time something is different. And I say that knowing full well how many times people have said, this time, something is different about Elon Musk. February 2026. First Cybercab rolls off the Giga Texas line. That's 16 months from reveal to real production. Cybertruck took over 4 years. Model Y took more than 2. 16 months is fast, even by Tesla's best era standards. And we are not currently living in Tesla's best era, by any measure. Then on May 21st, Lars Moravy, Tesla's VP of Engineering, a man who does not typically speak in superlatives, stood up at a delivery event and said the Cybercab consumes 165 watt-hours per mile. For comparison, the Model 3 long range uses around 250. That's not a marketing number. That's a regulatory certification figure. The kind of number where if you lie about it, you don't get angry tweets. You get a federal investigation. Musk said in the April earnings call that production would start slow and ramp exponentially toward the end of the year. I've heard that sentence enough times to be skeptical. But drone footage doesn't negotiate. The cars in that lot keep adding up, month after month.
We have just started production of Cybercab, so you should expect that initial production of Cybercab and Semi will be very slow, but then ramping up and going kind of exponential towards the end of the year and certainly next year.
So, at minimum, the production part is real. Everything else. I'm still watching. Giga Texas is running 4 programs at once. That's not normal. Here's something that got buried under all the Cybercab headlines. And I think it tells you more about where Tesla is headed than anything Musk has posted on X lately. A normal car factory runs 1 assembly line, 1 model, optimized for one thing. That's how GM does it, how Ford does it, how Toyota built its reputation over 50 years. Because every time you add a new program to an existing factory, you're adding complexity. You're adding risk. You're adding 100 new ways for things to go wrong at 2 in the morning on the night shift. Giga Texas is currently running 4 programs simultaneously: Model Y, Cybertruck, Cybercab, and the new Cybertruck AWD at $59,990 that just entered production in May. 4 programs, 1 factory. At the same time, I'm not telling you this to impress you with Tesla. I'm telling you because it explains something important. Cybercab is not a side project that quietly disappears if it runs into trouble. When you integrate a brand new production program into a factory that's already running 3 others, you don't do that for fun. You do it because you're confident enough in your supply chain, your assembly process, and your team's ability to keep everything running, that you're willing to bet the other 3 lines on it. And here's where it gets more interesting. Giga Texas isn't the only factory in this network. Giga Berlin is making Model Y for Europe. Giga Shanghai is running Model 3 and Model Y for Asia and part of Europe. Giga Nevada is producing 4680 batteries and power walls. Every single one of those facilities was built to receive new programs once Texas validates the process. So what Tesla is doing with Cybercab at Giga Texas right now isn't just building one car. They're proving out an operating model so that when the affordable car finally gets the green light, it doesn't launch in one factory at 50,000 units a year. It launches across the entire network at 500,000 units a year, almost immediately. Will they actually pull that off? I genuinely don't know. But the infrastructure being built today is real, and it's pointed in a very specific direction. Tesla has done this before. I just didn't connect the dots soon enough. This is the part where I feel a little foolish in hindsight. Model Y launched at Fremont. Once the line stabilized, Tesla replicated it, Texas, Berlin, Shanghai. Each factory a slightly better version of the last. Cybertruck went into Texas on the same physical footprint. Now, Cybercab. Same factory. 3 generations of products. Each one more efficiently produced than the one before. That's not a coincidence. That's a system. And systems, unlike press releases, tend to keep running even when the man at the top is busy doing other things. The sales numbers are saying something Tesla would prefer you ignore. Let's look at the numbers Tesla doesn't lead with in their press releases. 2023, 1.81 million cars delivered, an all-time record. 2024, 1.79 million, first decline in company history. 2025, 1.636 million, declining again. Q1 2026, 358,000 units, below analyst expectations. For what feels like the 14th quarter in a row now, 3 years, same direction. That's not market volatility. That's a trend. Now, in April 2026, Reuters reported that Tesla has been contacting suppliers about a new compact SUV, smaller than the Model Y. Cheaper. First production in Shanghai, later expanding to the US and Europe. About 4.27 meters long, around 1,500 kilograms. Smaller battery, single motor. Tesla China immediately denied it. Here's the thing though. In April 2024, Reuters reported that Tesla was killing the NV9 program. The $25,000 car, Tesla denied that too, then confirmed it. Same source. Same denial playbook. Same topic. Just pointed in the opposite direction this time. You can decide who you believe. I've learned to watch what companies do with their supplier relationships more than what their PR departments say on a Tuesday afternoon. Tesla is calling suppliers. That's not nothing. So should you wait? The answer is more complicated than I'd like. This is the part I've spent the most time on, because it's the part that actually affects the decision sitting in your browser tab right now. First angle, the timeline is not what the headlines imply. Even in the most optimistic scenario, Cybercab fully validates the production model by end of 2026. Tesla greenlights the affordable car in early 2027. Ramp-up takes another 12 to 18 months. That car reaches actual buyers no earlier than late 2027. Realistically, 2028. And that assumes everything goes to plan. With Tesla, everything goes to plan is a phrase I use very carefully, and only after a second cup of coffee. If you need a car within the next 12 months, nothing I've said here is a reason to wait. Life does not pause for Elon Musk's production schedule. Second angle, who actually has a reason to wait? And it's probably not the reason you think. If your current car still runs and you have no hard deadline, then 18 to 24 months of patience might be worth something. But not because you're guaranteed a shiny new Tesla at the end of it. Here's the more practical reason: the moment Tesla officially announces an affordable car, even before a single one is delivered, used car prices for current Model Y and Model 3 vehicles will drop immediately. Markets price in announcements, not deliveries. That's when buying a used EV becomes genuinely attractive in a way it hasn't been before. You're not necessarily waiting to buy a new Tesla. You might be waiting to buy someone else's current Tesla at a significantly lower price. Third angle: the market is not sitting still while Tesla figures this out. This is the part I think gets lost when the conversation becomes entirely about Tesla. BYD is selling electric cars under $30,000 right now. Not in 2028. Right now, Hyundai, Kia, and a growing list of other manufacturers are filling the gap that Tesla is leaving open. If you wait until 2028 and Tesla misses the window again, which is not an unreasonable thing to expect, you will not be short of options. You'll just potentially be driving something that isn't a Tesla. Waiting doesn't mean loyalty to one brand. Waiting means letting competition work in your favor. Fourth angle: what is the Model Y you buy today actually worth in 2028? This is the question nobody wants to ask when they're excited about getting a new car. I understand. I've been there. But if Tesla successfully launches an affordable car at $25,000 or close to it, the Model Y you buy today at $39,990 is going to be competing in the used market against new cars that cost less. No used car market survives that pressure without significant price drops. I'm not saying don't buy a Model Y. I'm saying know what you're buying and have a clear-eyed view of what that asset looks like in 3 years. That's the kind of thing your dealer will not bring up while you're sitting in the finance office. So, did I close that pricing tab? Not yet, but I haven't clicked continue either. I'm watching the Cybercab lot footage every month. I'm watching whether Reuters follows up on the compact SUV story. And I'm asking myself whether that feeling in the back of my head is actually good instinct, or just a very convenient excuse to avoid making a decision. Maybe you're asking yourself the same thing. If you think Tesla will have an affordable car on the road before 2028, come on. 1. If you think we'll be having this exact conversation again in 2 years with a new set of very reasonable explanations, comment 2. And if this helped you think through a decision that actually matters, subscribe. We're working toward our next milestone, and I'd like you there when we hit it. See you in the next one.